Welcome! We've got a huge update to talk about today, something that's really important for anyone who's tracking the Indian economy, and especially if you're gearing up for exams. You know, the government is basically reboating the entire system we use to measure our country's economic health. Let's dig into why this is such a big deal.
So let's just start with this question right here. Our economy is buzzing, right? New industries are popping up, old ones are completely transforming, but are we trying to measure this super dynamic modern economy with a ruler from like a decade ago? And that's really the heart of the problem we're going to unpack today.
Before we go any further, let's make sure we're all on the same page with a concept that is absolutely crucial for your exams, the base year. Just think of it as the year zero for our economic data. It's the starting line. Everything, inflation, growth, you name it, is measured against this point. And, well, as the racetrack changes, you've got to redraw that starting line to keep things accurate.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll get into why this is all happening right now. Then, we'll look at the actual new numbers, the new benchmarks. After that, we're going to do a deep dive on one specific index, the IIP, to see these changes in action. Then, we'll cover the other big upgrades before, you guessed it, wrapping it all up with the key takeaways for your exams.
Okay, first things first, why the big change? And why now? Well, this isn't just some routine admin task. It's about fixing what you could call an economic time warp. We need to capture just how much the Indian economy has structurally changed.
And this chart, wow, this chart tells the story of modern India perfectly in one single image. Just look at that massive slice for the services sector, over 62%. It's so obvious we're not just an agricultural economy anymore. And when the very foundation of your economy shifts this much, well, the tools you use to measure it have to shift too.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. You know, for good policymaking, whether it's the RBI deciding on interest rates or a company deciding where to build a new factory, it all depends on having accurate, up-to-date information. Our data can't be like a blurry old photograph. It needs to be a crystal clear, live feed of the economy as it is right now.
So what's the solution? Well, the government is essentially hitting a giant refresh button on our economic indicators. Let's take a look at the new benchmarks they're proposing.
Okay, this slide right here is pure exam gold, so get ready to take some notes. Look at that jump. For both GDP and the Index of Industrial Production, the IIP, we're leaping from 2011-12 all the way to 2022-23. That is a huge jump. And for the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, we're moving from 2012 to 2024. This is a massive update designed to bring our data in line with the post-pandemic modern economy.
Now, need an easy way to lock those dates in your memory for your exam? I got you. Just remember this little phrase. Go India 23, Consumers 24. Go India stands for production. That's your GDP and IIP for 2022-23. And consumers, well, that's for the CPI in 2024. Simple as that.
Let's keep moving. To really get a feel for what a base year revision actually means in practice, we're going to zoom in on the Index of Industrial Production. Think of it as our case study. It's getting a serious makeover.
So first, a quick refresher. The IIP is pretty much India's industrial pulse check. It tells us how our core industrial engines, mining, manufacturing, and electricity, are doing. It's an absolutely vital signal for policymakers, especially for big initiatives like Make in India.
And as you can see from this timeline, updating the IIP is not a new thing at all. It's a practice that's been going on since 1937. You know, with 9 revisions already done, this latest one is really just the next logical step in a long history of keeping our industrial data sharp, relevant, and accurate.
So here's the thing. This is about so much more than just changing a year on a spreadsheet. It's a fundamental upgrade to how we capture our industrial data. So let's pop the hood and see what's really new in the index.
I think this slide is just fantastic because it shows you the change in such a real, tangible way. We're throwing out outdated things like fluorescent tubes and old printing machinery. And what's coming in? The products of today's India. LED bulbs, vaccines, laptops, and get this, even components for aircraft and spacecraft. The whole basket of goods is being modernized to reflect what India actually makes and uses today.
Now here's another game-changing upgrade for your notes. A brand new process for the substitution of factories. I mean, think about it. What happens if a factory in the sample just shuts down? In the past, that could create a real gap in the data, but now there's a clear 4-step system to find a replacement and seamlessly integrate it. The result is an index that's way more dynamic and actually reflects what's happening on the ground.
And the upgrades just keep coming. The scope of the index is getting bigger, now including things like minor minerals and gas supply. The classification is getting smarter, so we'll have way more detailed data. The reporting lag is being cut down, meaning we get the information faster, and they're even making it future-ready by planning for a deseasonalized series to help with forecasting. It's a top-to-bottom overhaul.
Whew, okay, we have covered a lot of ground, so let's pull it all together and focus on the absolute key takeaways you're going to need for your prep. Think of this as your final scorecard.
All right, this is it, your final cheat sheet. If you remember nothing else, remember this. The main goal? To capture the huge structural changes in our economy. The new base years? Say it with me, 2022-23 for GDP and IIP, and 2024 for the CPI. Remember, the IIP is India's industrial barometer. And what are the major upgrades? A modern product basket, a system for factory substitution, and an expanded scope. And the reason for all of this? To get better, faster, more accurate information for smarter policymaking.
So I'll just leave you with this final question to think about. This whole exercise isn't just about statistics. With a much clearer, more accurate picture of our industrial strength, how can we better design and execute policies like Make in India? Because at the end of the day, better data leads to better decisions, and that just might be the key to achieving India's ambition of becoming a global manufacturing powerhouse. Thanks for joining me.